What's up, guys? It is your boy Will, and welcome to another day, another video. I'm super excited. Today we have Learning Affinity episode 2. I have an agenda, I'm organized, I'm dialed. But before we get into that, I am in Cancun, Mexico on a work trip, and it's been incredible so far. I don't want to speak too much to it because it's not over, and if I know anything, we have our biggest day tomorrow, and so I'm really hoping that everything goes smoothly with that. I had a quick little window to make this video, so that's what I'm hopping into. But the reason I bring up Cancun is I have a special treat for this video. Went to a grocery market, or grocery store. That's actually what it's called. What the frick? And this bottle is tiny, so I don't have anything like. Here's the DJI mic kit that I unboxed, and that is the size comparison. So super tiny bottle, but I never have seen this soda. It's called Crystal, and it is a product of Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola company. And I was like, hey, I want to try something new, explore, experiment. I'm in a different country, and so I'm going to experiment live with you guys here real quick. Taste this Crystal, give you my rating, and then we're going to hop into learning a freaking Affinity. Let's go. All right. Wow, this is unreal. This definitely is excesso calories. Wow, it's kind of like a Shirley Temple, which I guess you could guess by the looks of it. Crystal, yeah, I would say it's closest to a Shirley Temple beverage. Wow, that's so good. Or there's a specific one I'm thinking of. They serve it at Cookout. Gosh, I'm going to put it on screen just because I can't think of the name right now. But wow, this is delicious. Oh, frick, I'm going to be so mad when I leave and I can no longer get bottles of Crystal. Let's see how much sugar is in this tiny little bottle. Gosh, if only I could read Spanish. I think this only has 10.5 grams of sugar. Yeah. 10.5 grams of sugar. It's a small bottle, so not bad. I don't think I'll switch my morning beverage from coffee to that, but wow, that was delicious. Wow, I'm definitely drinking that entire bottle the second I'm done recording. Holy frick, it was so good. Anyway, quick little fun. Let's jump right into the Learning Affinity 2. So I wanted to do a follow-up based on some comments I had on episode 1. So I want to do a huge shout out to David Powell for just leaving comments on the video. It's like I'm doing this more to just grow in community, grow in my skills in designing and in Affinity, but also just grow with a community and learn together. So I appreciate the help and your guys' support. You guys are probably all smarter than I am or getting smarter than I am. And so your feedback can help me solve problems that I have. So it makes it more fun. So David Powell kind of explained about the select inversing, the raster settings, and then clipping masks. I scratched clipping mask off the agenda because I still do not have a solution that works. So David Powell's method worked. But it didn't give me the effect of like how a clipping mask works in Photoshop. It did create a clipping mask based on how Affinity makes clipping masks. But I don't know how to set it up yet to where it does what Photoshop does. I might make another video explaining the problem more in depth with the example, and that's the only thing I talk about in the video, just in case I'm doing it way wrong. And I probably am doing it way wrong, and I'm really excited for the community to get together and knock it out. But super excited for that. So I want to go through a few of the things that he said. One was the select inverse. He talked about how the single click background erase in the AI program. True, I'm trying to wait as long as possible until I have to pay for the subscription. So what can I accomplish? How fast? What does my workflow look like before I have to pay for it? Is possible to just use it free? Like I think my DaVinci Resolve is still free in what I use for DaVinci. So I don't think I paid for DaVinci. So yeah. But yeah, so free, so you can do that. Select brush tool manually and stuff like that, which I think is good. Let us Open a Safari window and go to Nike.com and grab a shirt. We're in Mexico, so of course it is. I literally cannot read any of this. I wish I had just can I select a different country? I don't know. Is there a flag anywhere? Should have put my VPN on. Dang it. Oh, here we go, Mexico. Let's go to Middle East, Europe, Asia, Americas, United States. Boom. There we go. What is this? Nike Skims? Is it for bikes? That looks like, oh, it's for the ice. That's crazy. Okay. Real quick, men. Let's go shirts, all clothing, outerwear. Am I dumb here? I guess just all clothing. Perfect. Tops and t-shirts. Here we go. Let's pick this shirt. It's a little bit more simple. I was looking for one that would just be the shirt. Let me try and do this a little bit more refined. Let's go to just Georgia. Look for a Georgia tee. There we go. Here we go. Bro, this stuff, oh my goodness, this tech fleece is insane. Okay, this is what we're going to grab. So copy image, go into Affinity. Boom, I was working on the thumbnail pre to this. Paste this jersey in. Select from the center. There we go. So in the first episode, I manually erased the background and then deleted the rest. In this, which is true, you can click on this little cylinder in a dashed line box and go selection brush tool. And without paying for it, you can pretty easily and pretty accurately select what you're doing. Boom, boom, which is basically perfect. And then if you select your marquee tool and you hit Shift-Command-I, it does select the background, or it inverses the selection. I made a mistake here, so let's redo that real quick. Selection brush tool, so Shift-Command-I again, and just make sure I clean up this edge here. Boom. Okay, Shift-Command-I, and then select the layer and delete. So there you go. So there is a really quick way to mask out. It still has really jagged lines. If you cared about the lines a ton, I believe there is in the marquee tool a refine. And in this refine, this is how you can really develop how you want the lines to look. Make them a little cleaner and delete. I think I already had the settings set, so it made it a little bit nicer. I'll have to do an in-depth setting on there. But basically, if I make a new pixel layer, drag it to the bottom, grab my flood tool, make it black, select. You can see we successfully removed the subject from the background. So there you have it. There is a nice way to do it, and that is a courtesy of David. Whoop. Boom. David Powell giving us a little insight instead of having to manually erase, which is good. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's probably not as good as AI. And with the selection tool, if you have a really complex subject that you're trying to pull, like multiple shades of hair, really detailed clothing patterns, your results may vary, and it might be easier just for you to grab the eraser tool and outline it. This is without paying for it. If you pay for it, I'm sure the AI works really, really well. And so that is awesome. And so, yeah, that was the main follow-up. Wanted to give a shout out to David Powell, the Select Inverse. And now we can jump into the Learning Affinity episode 2, which I'm really excited about. Let me make myself a little bit smaller there. Pop myself in the corner. Grab our note that I can also drag here. Boom. Okay, look at that. We have a good lineup here on the side. Perfect. Okay. So we did the follow-up based on comment, select, inverse, alignment, and magnet tool. So this is a little quirk that we have with Affinity. So I have this open box here. If I grab my text tool and make sure that it is artistic text, so I can tap in the middle and write just Zelo on there from here. So say it's off placement, obviously. How do I get this centered? Well, I looked crazy, and I don't know necessarily how to pull this up in Pixel yet. I'm sure it's possible, but in Pixel, there is no just standard alignment panel that I see here, but it exists in Vector. So in Photoshop, I have my top bar that allows me to align. Basically, that's that same thing. If I switch over to Vector, we have our align icon right there, and I can easily align center and align middle. Boom, done. And shift back to Pixel. And a quick way to do this, fun fact, is actually just function F1 goes to Vector, 2 Pixel, 3 layout. So basically, if you have custom studios at the top, or you have a specific studio you're working with, but it again has that weird quirk, like here in layout, there's my alignment tool right there. But that's how I expect Pixel to work, but Pixel, interesting. So see, we're learning Affinity together. So maybe I just have to reformat my brain a little bit to just the specific studio. But this is where custom studios, which will be a little bit later, as we develop custom studios, I'm sure I can develop a custom studio that has my flow. Because to me, these layout options here are kind of more important than there being literally nothing up here on the Pixel side. Oops. And then again, we have a lot more in the layout, which Vector is Illustrator, Pixel is Photoshop, layout is InDesign. I did not actually play with the layout studio for that, so interesting. But yeah, so it's just a weird quirk that to do that same thing now in Pixel, you have to right click, go to alignment, align center, right click again, alignment, align middle. Which is not ideal for like everyday workflows. I'm trying to do something quick or whatever. I can get probably quick at, okay, I need to align this, 3, boom, do the align, flip back over to function F2. But my function is also my emoji button, so every now and then when I click it, that'll happen. So anyway, just a weird quirk with Affinity, and I'm sure as we get into further episodes and we start diving into developing and building our own custom studios, and which is basically workspace in Photoshop. I know when I made my custom workspace in Photoshop, though specific to how I use the platform, I was able to kind of map out how I wanted it. And so I'm hoping that when I go and create my own studio here, that I will be able to have that same level of customization and opportunity. But that's a later episode. So anyway, just a weird quirk to go ahead and start off with, but I thought it was fun. You had your alignment methods and hitting function 1, 2, 3 to switch between your modes and your studios. Also beforehand, I think by default when I opened it, we just had this where I could drag it around. You don't really see anything. Photoshop has this smart guides feature that allows you to have that alignment. Basically, if you click the magnet, you'll start to see the same smart guides start to pop up. And as you have more assets on there, you'll be able to start aligning to the bottom, show distances, and different things like that, and how they relate to each other. So pretty cool, the magnet feature. It was not on for me by default. You guys literally saw me open Affinity. And so just make sure to go and click the magnet and make sure that it's on and stuff like that. So basically what I'm going to do now over the next little bit is design a leadership call deck template that I can use for my leadership calls. And so there's a few aspects to my leadership design template. So we're going to go ahead and do leadership. Let's map out our project scope here. Leadership deck template. So the first thing that we need is going to be trivia. We have trivia on our Wednesday leadership calls. The next thing I'll need is reporting and numbers. We will do announcements. And the last thing we'll be doing here is, it was trivia, it was reporting, it was announcements, and then title, screen, or cover. Boom. All right, so these are the elements or our scope of work for this project here. So I'm going to go and group that, call it scope. I'm going to make a new group, drag that down. Pretty easy, pretty focused, and we'll start with the cover. And I'm going to hide that layer. And we have a special edition here. Like I said, I'm on this work trip. I have some edited photos that I'm going to use as the cover image. So we did this. I'm going to go through a whole project brief with you guys. and talk about some things I liked, some of my favorite photos and different things that I took from the experience. Oh, that one is a positive contender, so let's drag that in. This pros hat is another positive contender. Your document contains a large amount of embedded image data. Would you like to link instead to a reduced document size? No, I would not. Ooh, that looks really good. But we had these Navy SEALs come out and do what they call the hydro games, and the guys got super dirty. It was a 3-hour long, just intense workout, which they didn't have the log, but I actually like the bags better than the log. I think the log would have been good for a video, good for bonding, but we couldn't get the log. So they stitched these 80-pound sandbags together, and the guys had to lift them and do a lot of these crazy things. There was a water, like swim out on paddleboard method. This guy's name's Joshua Simmons. He threw up. This is Tyler Jackson. He's president of sales for our company. So a lot of different and fun things here. Crawling under each other in a line as a race. Just a lot of getting down and dirty in the sand and getting a little crazy. So I also like this image here. But I think what I'm probably going to do here is start with this photo. So I gotta hit the edge and see what this one looks like. Just like that looks so good. Serve and elevate the pros there. So that's a top contender. The guy in this image, his name is Max Robinson, and he is one of our lead VPs. He's a stud. Boom, there we go. Make sure that's centered up. This one is probably my top contender at the moment. It just is so good. But then these guys as well, you can just feel the effort and the exhaustion on them and stuff like that. So we have good options. And typically I rotate through call decks cycles. So I'm going to group those together, and under those, call them cover images. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the Max one. I just really like the colors on this one. I think it's good. So very nice. Now let's go ahead and hit U on our keyboard. U on our keyboard is the Shapes tool, which is, I believe, the same thing as Photoshop. And I'm going to go ahead and draw out here a rectangle. And so this is actually where I'm going to go ahead and put the date. So I need to go ahead and type out 11/11/2025, which is today's date. And we are going to find, oh man, let's see recent fonts that I've used. Articulate is a good one. Let's use Articulate CF. And bold. Drag that there. Shift Command bracket, just like Photoshop. So this is right bracket, moves it to the front, so very top. Shift Command back bracket moves it to the bottom. Again, just like Photoshop. That's a little quick hack for you to move spacing. But I actually don't want it there. I want it in the cover image. And let's see if it does the same thing here. Keeps it within the grouping, which is really nice. We move our rectangle down there as well. The rectangle I actually want to be red, specific FF0000. Boom. That might be too red, honestly, just for this image. I don't know. And then instead of black for the text, let's make it white. Let's bump this up to 16 pixels. I did run into, wow, it's deleting again. I did run into a glitch on one of my previous ones where trying to select the text here. There we go. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put a lock on these images just so I won't select them. Maybe it still allows me to select them. That would be another quirk. I think if I draw out select, no, it still does select them, so I wish it did not do that. But I did find a quirk, another glitch in Affinity where I would edit the size and type in a number, and it would not change the size of it, but change it technically. So it visually was the same size as the other size, but it said that it was 16 pixels. And I could tap between the two text layers that are the exact same size, and it said that they were two different sizes. So interesting little bug over the process there. Let's collect these, group, we'll call this date. Date, and we'll go ahead and shrink it to the size that we want. I love that. One thing I will need to do here, think if I go to YouTube, do I have the logo? Boom. I don't have the pros logo in here. I think that was something that I was working on. Let's see here. Perfect. So I was able to find the pros logo kit. This is an Illustrator file. So we're going to open an Illustrator file in Affinity and see what happens here. Standard import as artboards, so you can do pages or artboards. That's cool. Color space, we have those. We don't have Stratum because it's an Adobe font. Okay, we're gonna hit open and boom, just like you'd expect. And all of the images here are correct. So let me go ahead and grab this selection. I'm gonna group those together, and then within that group, I'm going to grab PROS, group those together. Pros and Bolt and Pros logo. Also, I'm going to go ahead and grab that, go to our untitled document here, paste in, and then can I change the color? I can. Look at that, just like magic. And alignment, beautiful. There you go. Able to add the pros logo, the date, and then let's see here. I will type our mission statement as well on there. It's important to always, whenever you're in marketing, restate your mission as much as possible and as often as possible to keep engagement. And so the pros mission is we serve and elevate individuals who multiply that value in others, resulting in growth and transformation, period. So let's go ahead and do values up there. Boom. It is very important in any form of marketing that you restate your mission as often as possible. So that way it is always in front of the leaders. Oh, Command Y is a feature in Illustrator that allows you to see outlines instead of just seeing all the images and stuff like that, so you can see the physical outlines. But it helps with alignment because you can just see, okay, where do the lines match up? Like I can clearly see that those lines don't match up, so I can select. And Shift Command O it doesn't outline the text, it actually selects the text in pixel. But yeah, so I can go here where I can like work on aligning that. Wow. And now I know that they're generally the right size there. Perfect. All right, the date, we serve and elevate individuals and multiply that value, resulting in growth and transformation. And let's make it demi-bold, okay? Boom. We have our cover done. Let's move the layers inside, and I'm going to be erasing it to my battery here, 14%. So I might only have time to do one or two of the things within the scope for this video. Let's go ahead and hide this. So trivia, reporting, announcements. And reporting and announcements will be basically the same thing. Trivia will be a little bit fun, and we're actually going to use that hoodie that we had previously. So we have the cover, awesome. We're going to make a new folder. We'll call it Trivia. Boom. And we're going to need a background texture. So textures. Search my Mac, OG textures. Probably have some other really good textures, but for the sake of this, we'll use my dark grunge texture 4. Let's make this a little bit smaller there. Okay, and then in here we're gonna go into trivia and put that into a group called BKG or background, and that's just because I'm gonna do Command L for levels, and I'm gonna want to move those levels around a little bit. Beautiful. There you go. And I'm also going to do a new pixel layer. And I'm going to fill black. And I might do pixel layer 100, put it at the bottom here. This dark grunge texture, a little bit lower. Perfect. I do love grunge textures. I haven't figured out how to make them work in Affinity yet. That's part of the clipping mask problem, so we will be exploring those textures in a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and move cover up to the top for a second just to go ahead and copy some of this grid system. So I know that I want, do I have to physically grab the logo there? Is my magnet on? There we go. Boom. 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 Okay. That is what I needed. And I am actually going to steal this logo again, duplicate it, but move it to this side here and make it a little bit smaller. Sweet. Now we're going to make a new text layer called Trivia. Beautiful. We're going to make this a header. So something of like 24 looks good. And let's, in our typography settings, make it all caps. And then we'll just drop it right there. We'll ask a trivia question. Who is the best football team in the CFB? Everyone knows the answer to that super obvious question. We'll drag this down to 18, build a little hierarchy. Question mark there. And then we will, what did I do? Did I duplicate? Nope, okay. Command J, drag it down. Answer, University of Georgia, Georgia. Perfect. And then for the answer, I'm actually going to go ahead and make it a nice like yellow green. Need more green than yellow green, but green. Boom. There we go. And then I always like to put some text at the bottom there to make it feel complete. So we're going to go ahead and take this white and do like the copyright symbol 2025, Freedom Pros LLC. I need to make sure I'm on Do Not Disturb. Uh-oh. Okay, we are at 8% battery. So this will be the last little bit here. So there we go there. Really nice text layout just for trivia. So there we go. Pretty easy. And then for trivia prize, so that's scope, trivia, duplicate trivia real quick. And hide the bottom one. And then for prize, it's interesting how I can't just select in. It's probably my selector tool. I haven't figured out how to get to the right selector tool that I want yet. We're going to go to this Georgia jacket and put that here. Let's alignment, align center. And then the issue with aligning middle is it doesn't look like this is, oh, I guess it is framed, right, actually. And that's why we use guides. And then above this copyright, I'm going to duplicate you up. And then in the center, what is the name of this? Oop. This is the Georgia Tech Fleece. Beautiful. So Shift Command V will paste and match. What's crazy is Georgia Tech is a rival. It's the Georgia Tech Fleece, but they just have on there Georgia Tech Fleece. So that is a little bit of an issue on Nike. I've documented a little bit of an issue there. Well, I'll say that looks just insane. That looks so good. There we go. We have a little bit of a trivia prize. And the last thing on the scope is going to be reporting. Reporting, we might not be able to get to it here just with the battery constraints on my MacBook, 6%. But you guys can see that it's getting easier to flow and build like actual projects within Affinity as we get closer. to using this every single day and me actually working in it. I'll be able to create more projects. I think for the next video, I want to try and, there you go, build layers, vector tools, and there's a lot more that we have on the slate for different projects that we want to accomplish. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to youtube.com/Zelo. New videos every single week. I'm focused really on growth and creating really awesome things and learning new programs and building community. And so I would just love to be a part of it. Please leave a comment if you have any suggestions or like thoughts or concepts in the comments. I want to review those on videos. I'll respond to all of them. And I just wanted to say I thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and liking the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.